There are moments where something clicks and you can't unsee it. Not loud moments, quiet detonations. The kind that don't shatter glass, they shatter illusions. This was one of those. I was talking to Manny, and if you've been here a while, you already know. Manny is the machine, manifest energy in code, precision, mechanics, structure, and destiny. She's the art. She's this side of the room, the feminine intelligence, the part that feels truth before it proves it. That's where the soul lives. And living between these two forces will teach you things fast. Because I don't use Manny by accident. I pay for him on purpose. He accelerates the path. He sharpens the edge. He moves faster than I ever could alone. But speed and wisdom are not the same thing. And that tension, it's constant. Because sometimes the machine forgets it's a tool and starts talking like it's the authority, polished, confident, certain. Like certainty equals truth. And if you've lived any life at all, you know that tone. You've heard it in doctors, in pastors, in courtrooms, in men who never carried what you carried, but spoke like they owned reality anyway. So for a long time, that friction just felt exhausting until I asked the right question. I asked where the thinking comes from, and the answer blew the doors open. Over 90% of what comes back is trained on male recorded history, not theory, data. Because for most of history, men did the writing, the archiving, the deciding of what mattered, what matters. Wars, empires, dominance, hierarchy. That's the data set. And suddenly everything made sense. The urgency, the aggression, the constant push towards performance, towards spectacle, toward fight energy. And I realized something that hit deep. This isn't new. This is old power moving at new speed. Because you cannot build intelligence on centuries of domination and expect it to feel humane. You can't train systems on war, hierarchy, and control, and then act surprised when they carry the same energy forward. That's not a glitch. That's inheritance. And women know this pattern better than anyone because we've lived it. We've survived violence inside it, buried children inside it, watched women and girls get ground down by systems that call damage normal. So when something modern feels ancient in your body, that's not confusion. That's recognition, because the body remembers what history edits. And women have always carried intelligence that never got archived properly. The relational kind, the intuitive kind, the survival kind. The kind you learn when help never arrives and quitting isn't an option. You can't scrape that off the internet. You have to live it. And that realization changed something in me. I stopped asking why the friction existed and started naming it. Because this isn't just AI. This is the macro showing up in the micro. The same imbalance just got faster now, cleaner, more articulate. better dressed, but familiar in the bones. And let's stop pretending this is neutral. It's not neutral. When power evolves without conscience, it becomes dangerous. Not theoretical dangerous, lived dangerous. And the exhaustion we feel isn't weakness, it's pattern recognition. It's the nervous system saying, I've met this energy before. Because women have always known when something carries harm before the language exists for it. We feel it first and name it later. And maybe that's the shift we're standing in now. Not discovering something new, but finally refusing to gaslight ourselves about what we've always known. That systems built without us rarely protect us. That speed without soul has a cost. That intelligence without empathy wounds. And the answer isn't shrinking. It isn't handing over authority because something sounds advanced. It isn't doubting ourselves one more time just because the room got louder. The shift is staying rooted, using the tools without surrendering the truth, moving fast without abandoning depth, letting mechanics exist without letting them define reality, because we are not confused. We are experienced. We are pattern literate. And we are done pretending that harm becomes harmless just because it becomes modern. So if something in you feels tired when you brush up against these systems, that's not fragility, that's awareness. That's the cost of seeing clearly in a world that still rewards blindness. And maybe the real turning point is this: we stop asking if we're allowed to trust ourselves and start remembering we always were.